What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is no longer a drill. There are conversations right now that are spinning Xbox's or Microsoft's intention to put Call of Duty on its Game Pass platform as a last-ditch effort. You should see one of the articles here. It says, Microsoft is reportedly taking the nuclear option. Yo, we all knew that this was the play. Why are the press acting like, oh, this is some big deal? Like, we knew this was happening. In fact, when people directly asked Phil Spencer, remember there were these conversations going on, and Xbox has its execs out there talking to people. They said something along the lines of it's something that they're looking at in terms of ensuring that everything is done properly, because Activision and all that stuff, they seem to have the intention to want to merge it together. However, you look on the internet, you seem like, man, they were debating this thing. And no. Game Pass is supposed to be a juggernaut of a platform. There are also a few things that people would say to mock or reduce Xbox's impact on the market right now. Like, oh, Game Pass is not growing. They said they wanted 100 million subs, but they only got about 30 million. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't want Game Pass to have 100 million subs. This is just the reality. If they do you know what happens to PlayStation? It's over. Right now, even at the 30 million subs that Game Pass has, it's profitable. Phil Spencer mentioned with his own words that they had spent about $1 billion as of last year in acquiring content for Game Pass. If you look at the 30 plus million subscribers and $1 billion in content and potentially a few more costs that was already available in terms of the way they ran their subscription system with Xbox Live and Gold and all that, it's about $1 billion. I mean, the numbers that we even have for Game Pass subscribers were from the Brazilian Economic Authority. That's where we got those numbers from. So you don't want, if they get 100 million subs, that's insane. That's literally tripling or quadrupling the profit at $4 billion. Sony is dead. Sony is dead at that point, because even with this meager 30% of what it is that they want, that they're trying to achieve, Sony is already writing in their internal documents that they're behind their competition because of Activision. You don't want that to happen. So if you're trying to use it as a flex against Microsoft, no. You should be happy that it hasn't occurred yet. However, with this Call of Duty move, there seems to be something that I think is the ramification of this end game play. And some people are seeing it as Microsoft throwing a Hail Mary with Xbox. I don't necessarily like these conversations, because here's what they do. They put you in a position where you actually have to think logically about it. And then at the end of the day, you sound like you're defending a corporation that doesn't care about you and you shouldn't even care about. You should basically go in the market, and whatever is valuable for your dollars, engage, and whatever is not, throw away. That's how you should go about the market. You don't need somebody to tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. But what happens is when the press starts writing stuff like this, we got to ensure that we filter through this. Why? Because you and I were gamers. I'm a wannabe game developer, and I'm a YouTuber that covers video games. So every single one of us has some level of interest in this whole conversation. Even though you may be watching my video, casually or whatever it is, we must ensure that the messaging, and we must ensure that everything that's coming through is clear and is actually true to the context and the subject matter at hand. So what is going on here? It's very simple. Call of Duty, that play for Call of Duty was actually one to disrupt the entire market. Not a lot of people saw it that way. PlayStation did. That's why Jim, the guy that was in charge of PlayStation, flew around the world, because he knew. Even though he knew it wasn't an exclusivity play, he still went around to talk about how, it would reduce the quality and all this stuff. It was never an exclusivity play. It was a disruption play and a poaching play. Let me explain it to you. Right now, PlayStation has depended, for the most part, on games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, FIFA to rake in millions of dollars. Call of Duty rakes in about $800 million annually for PlayStation. Annually. That being said, that $800 million is now in a position where Microsoft is now getting the lion's share of it. Xbox is getting the lion's share of that money, because that was only the 30% or whatever negotiated fee Activision was paying to PlayStation. So the bulk of the sales and the profits is now going into the pocket of Xbox, their direct competitor, while at the same time leveraging every PlayStation machine as a deployment source for their games. Now the same game that is the highest played, highest sold game in some regard, well, one of the highest, I guess, is now going to Game Pass for a measly subscription fee. That's going to disrupt the market. Why? People are going to look and say, well, I only play Call of Duty. Why should I sit on PlayStation and pay $70 when I can go and get Game Pass? And some of you may say, well, people are not going to buy an Xbox to play Call of Duty. They won't, but they will likely buy a PC. You forget, oh my gosh, that the chess moves had been, basically in progress before this whole thing is, coming into culminate. People don't need to buy the Xbox anymore. They have access to be able to play Xbox games via different measures. A gaming laptop, a gaming PC, whatever it is, or an Xbox Series S console, which is a cheap entry fee compared to a $500 device if PlayStation were to try to do an exclusive to keep people. I think this whole move is making more sense from a strategic perspective the more and more I examine it, and the less and less I even try to even wonder what in the world is going on. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting here, and this whole thing is already done. When a move gets made and then at the end of the day, people then realize and go, oh, okay. For those of you that are soccer fans, Kevin De Bruyne, right? When he makes a pass, sometimes you're wondering like, why did he, and then you figure out that that's why he made that pass. It's a through pass. I think the acquisition of Activision had been thought of from multiple facets. Game Pass already existed in 2017. The entirety of the Xbox console slate was already out by 2020. And the move to go for Activision, I think, was after Microsoft was allowed to bring in a bunch of cash into the country from its offshore accounts for a lower tax rate. Many of you don't know this story. It's a story that's been buried, but it wasn't in a gaming scene. It was in a financial scene. Go back to 2017. Some people are saying that Microsoft has to go pay back the loan for Activision. You don't know what you're talking about. They paid an $18 billion tax bill in 2017 that they basically wrote up to, expenses of some sort. And that was the exact same time that the presidential administration and Congress reduced the tax bill for companies to bring in money from offshore accounts. Some companies took the opportunity to bring in a bunch of cash. Analysts claim that it seems like that tax bill was Microsoft's tax bill to bring in millions of dollars into the country, or even billions into the country with a reduced tax bill. I think that money is basically what they've infused in a sense, or at least they've leveraged to infuse into Xbox. And so the Activision deal is a disruption play. It's not for Xbox to gain dominance. It's for them to disrupt the market so heavily that PlayStation has to basically adjust very, very fast. And PlayStation will adjust fast. It's just that, for some people, they're just not seeing that the adjustment is basically PlayStation having to make a PC play. Because if you think about Game Pass, even if they increase the price, for me, I don't play Call of Duty. So if they raise the price of Game Pass, I'll probably drop it and subscribe if there's a game I want to play. That'll probably be how I go. But for those who like Call of Duty, they'll stick with it. At the same time, PlayStation increases its subscription service and gets nothing and gives its audience nothing for it. Again, what's going on is even with the folk that are console proponents that they engage in like the console war conversation or whatever it is, they're starting to sound like philosophers because they're starting to checkmate those who have been detractors of what Xbox has been doing. J-Rock over here says Xbox consoles aren't selling. This is a fact. They're not selling as much as PlayStation. Xbox gamers don't buy games. This is a claim that many people make against Xbox gamers. They say that all the time, especially with the Square Enix thing that just came out. Remember? Final Fantasy is not going to really sell much on Xbox. We saw those. We've been seeing them for a long time. Everyone rather buys than subscribe to Game Pass. Okay, well, then this is what they tell you. Well, some of it is correct, some of it is a lie. So what exactly would Microsoft be losing out on if they place Call of Duty on Game Pass? A service no one wants on a console no one buys. I think we need to think. I saw a YouTuber that said, I can't remember what he said. Oh, this is a stupid thing that the Xbox is doing. No, it's not. You're just afraid that Xbox is going to look very propositional in terms of what it's offering compared to what it is that you've been getting on the other side. This is why you hold no loyalty to any of the corporations, and you set yourself up to be able to be the benefactor of this huge competition going on. I need to see Spider-Man on Xbox. That's what I keep telling y'all. PlayStation needs to say, you know what? Let's go on your turf and let's now make money, because Microsoft is making money on PlayStation's turf. If you don't know, they're selling Call of Duty copies. They're selling Minecraft on there. And they're going to be selling more and more of it. PlayStation has to adjust. They can come to PC, but all this talk about, oh, we're not going to sell in these regions and all that stuff, they got to figure out a way to get around that and make money. The exclusivity play is dead. It's dead, dead, dead. It's so dead, they preferred PC players over PS5 players for Helldivers. That's how dead it is. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.